Dear friends, welcome to the Wednesday Word on Wednesday the 7th of June. On Sunday we said thank you and farewell to Simon, Annie, Beth and Clara Phillips after 6.5 years as church members and on our ministry team. Annie was youth minister from 2016 to 2021, and in 2019 we appointed Simon as minister with responsibility for the 18s to 30s. Simon really pioneered our current central small groups and 6:30 service after Patrick Wheaton became full-time vicar at St Luke's Church. Both ministries were quite small when Simon started, but he gathered a committed team around him and they began to grow. That sense of community spilled over into Sunday and Thursday evenings and was very attractive and welcoming to people who began to join us. And then in March 2020, after Simon had been with us for about a year, lockdown fell, but wonderfully, Simon had exactly the gifts that we needed to get us online within a week. He bought a new camera, sourced the tech kit and software we needed, and we were filming and he was editing the service for the first Sunday of lockdown. I honestly don't know how we would have got through lockdown without Simon. Now, of course, it was a team effort, but Simon stitched it all together, even to the extent of cycling between our homes with the video camera to whoever needed it next. Claire to film her morning prayer, Jane her children's sessions, the musicians recording the worship, and me the sermon. During this time, Simon was selected for ordination training, and I was really concerned about how we would staff the 18s to 30s ministry. But at that moment, Ollie Smith turned up and became our ministry assistant. Simon became a theological college placement student and worked with Ollie to rebuild the 6:30 service on Thursday evenings post-lockdown. Both began to grow rapidly. And now, 2 years later, with Stefan joining the team, the 18s to 30s ministry is flourishing. But it was Simon who laid the foundations. I can't talk about Simon's ministry without also mentioning his amazing contribution to our music ministry. Simon is a very gifted worship leader and he loves nothing more than leading the group from his guitar. We're going to miss his leading of worship hugely. But as with the 6:30 and central small groups, Simon has encouraged and helped Richard Tilson to build a new generation of worship leaders who will follow in his footsteps. So that's just some of the things that Simon has done. But more important than all of that is who Simon is. When I asked someone who knows him well what I should say about Simon, he said that Simon exemplifies the qualities for a minister of the gospel in 1 Timothy chapter 3, and especially that they're not to be violent but gentle. Simon is one of the most loving and gentle people that I've worked with. I don't think I've ever seen him lose his cool, and I've often noticed how patient he is with difficult people. An aspect of his patience is his unflappability. Whether leading music at the last minute, cooking a full Christmas dinner for 40 at central small groups, or running Minster Merriment for over 300 people, Simon is a relaxed presence who gets the most out of everyone he's working with, even if somebody else has to do the timekeeping. And then there is his patient and loving, gentle love for Annie, Beth and Clara, which has been so evident to us through Annie's mother's illness and death. Simon spent countless hours ferrying his family up and down from Somerset so that Annie could spend as much time as possible with Rachel, and without a word of complaint. What an example he has been to us of a husband who loves his wife as Christ does the church. Simon's gentleness is linked to another quality that ministers of the gospel must possess. They must be hospitable. And oh my goodness, Simon and Annie have the gift of hospitality in spades. I've often turned up at Simon and Annie's house to find their fairly small home rammed with 18s to 30s who were just hanging out with them, cooking food on a barbecue and having fun together. Simon is deeply committed to those he ministers with and to, and that's why his ministry among us has been so effective. In 1 Timothy 3, there are 13 qualities of character that ministers of the gospel must possess. But only one thing they must be able to do. They must be able to teach. And that's something that Simon has really grown in during his time with us. He's learnt to work out the meaning of a Bible text and apply it to our lives so that we see Jesus more clearly and become more passionate about living for him. We're going to miss Simon and Annie so much as they move to Holy Trinity Tewkesbury, but their gain is our loss. And we're so pleased that they're just going to be up the road. So no doubt we'll continue to see lots of them. And I'm so excited about how the Lord is going to continue to use them at the next stage of their life and ministry. If you haven't yet contributed to the collection for Simon, you can do so via the church giving page. Just use the reference Simon's Gift until Sunday the 11th of June. You can also write a message to Simon in a book which will be in St Matthew's until Sunday, or you can send a message by email and we'll print it out and stick it in for you. God bless you today.